The surface of Mars is a dry desert dotted with ancient volcanoes and craters. Sometimes it is completely covered with a sandstorm that closes the view. But we know more about the surface than about the other part in our system. The red planet is a small world. The mass covers less than 1/11th of the Earth, and the radius is only half of the Earth. The total area is 28% of the Earth. There is an opinion that the surface mainly consists of basalt covered with a thin layer of iron oxide. It is he who creates this red color. Below you can study the photo of maps in order to better get acquainted with the features of the planet's surface. When the question arises of where else, besides our Earth, a person could live, the name of the fourth planet from the Sun comes to mind first. And for good reason. Mars is an ideal candidate in terms of accessibility, suitable living conditions, and, in particular, political potential. In July 2020, 3 missions set off from Earth to the red planet at once: the United Arab Emirates, China, and the United States, whose Perseverance rovers successfully landed on the red planet on February 18, 2021. On July 30, 2020, NASA sent a new rover to Mars, which reached the surface of the red planet on February 18, 2021. It was given the name Perseverance, which was chosen from 28,000 applications submitted by American students. The new rover is very reminiscent of its legendary predecessor. Like Curiosity, Perseverance has many different types of spectrometers, as well as a modified system for drilling and storing soil samples. This system will obviously come in handy for the rover. It is part of an ambitious project that the Soviet Union once tried to implement, the goal of which is to bring samples of Martian rocks to Earth. True, it is not worth waiting for a particle of the red planet on Earth in the near future. The project may drag on for more than a decade. NASA engineers estimate that a person will be able to set foot on the surface of the fourth planet from the Sun no earlier than 2030. While NASA is thinking about how a person can set foot on the Martian surface, Elon Musk is already talking about how to send several hundred colonists to Mars. The Starship, as conceived by Musk, could become part of an ambitious interplanetary transport system in the future. As the entrepreneur hopes, the ship will be able to transport up to 100 people to the red planet in one flight, which will be able to start a permanent colony on Mars. The development of Starship is not over yet, and not all tests are going well. However, despite the ambition of Elon Musk's task, many SpaceX projects have shown that even the most fantastic ideas can be brought to life. And it is quite possible that in a few decades a person will be able to call himself a full-fledged inhabitant of a Martian colony. Why is it so difficult to fly to Mars? Despite numerous Mars exploration programs that have been going on for more than 60 years, a trip to the planet remains dangerous, difficult, and unpredictable. Why? One of the most critical stages is the launch. Until now, there are problems with going beyond the Earth orbit. In 2012, the onboard computer failed at the Russian interplanetary station Phobos Grunt, and the device burned up in the atmosphere without leaving the Earth. Another problem is the compilation of the flight path. The distance between Earth and Mars is 55 million kilometers, and modern spacecraft can easily overcome it. However, due to the different speeds and trajectories of the planets on the way, the real distance can reach 450 million kilometers, and sometimes more. At the same time, the course can also be adjusted during the flight. If something goes wrong, the device can fly off in a completely different direction or completely disappear into space. This happened with the Japanese spacecraft Nozomi, sent in 1998. He did not have enough power to immediately fly to Mars, so he had to make several gravitational maneuvers. 5 years later, in 2003, Nozomi passed at an altitude of 1,000 kilometers from Mars without entering its orbit. If it was possible to enter orbit, this does not mean that the landing will be successful. Due to the large time delay of radio signals, about 12 minutes, remote control of the landing will not be available. This means that an autonomous onboard computer is needed, which will land the device on its own. Landings typically take 6 to 7 minutes. They're called the 7 minutes of terror because that's when a rover crash can cause the entire mission to fail.